What's going on, guys? Troy at Mountain Man Treasure here. I'm a part-time reseller based out of Montana, and it's been really cool hanging out with Brendan over here at Dead Planet, and both of us have something free. Yeah, we're doing a giveaway. Now, Brendan's way cooler than mine, but you know, I'm not slouching here. He just pulled a fantastic rabbit out of his death pile hat over there that he's willing to give away. So he'll tell you how to do that over on my channel. But right here, all you've got to do to win this thing, it's giant, it's a mystery. If you're into Funkos, if you're into Marvel, I'll give you at least that much. That's all you get. How about that? Just comment down below and we will give that away here shortly to one of you. And if you're not subscribed to me, if you're not subscribed to Dead Planet, well, you need to be subscribed to both of us. It's the right thing to do.
All right, Dead Planet family, once you're done watching this versus video, head over to Troy's channel. Look for the video with the thumbnail that says this sale was a scream. Make sure you sub to the channel or else you can't win the giveaways. Leave a like on that video and then leave a comment. Any comment will do. And we're going to pick some of you at random to win both of those items just as a thank you for the support that you continue to show us. But yeah, let's get into the versus video now. All right, we're good. What's going on, my guy?
Hey, how are you?
Good. What's happening?
I'm trying to be motivated today. It's one of those, like, it was a lazy weekend, you know, and yesterday we literally just, my wife and I, we watched back-to-back movies and just did like a movie marathon and did literally nothing. So
we kind of earn that right though, don't we? I mean, with the amount of work that you do, like you even have a job too. I mean, you've earned it at this point, don't you think?
Yeah, well, and that was the thing. I told her, I was like, you know what? It's okay. We watched two and it was like, really? Can we do a third one? Yeah, let's do a third one. So we just literally we decided for whatever reason, we decided I don't think we've ever seen all of the Fast and the Furious movies.
Oh, really?
Like the new one came out, we're like, I think we've seen like one or two or so and then it just so happened like the next day I found, I don't know, like 5 of the 7 of them or something at a garage sale. And so I got them all and we've just been watching it. So we watched 3 Fast and Furious movies yesterday. So we didn't even watch good movies. Like we watched mindless, like, I mean, it's a good movie, but it's like a mindless, like, let's just have fun and watch a movie.
Definitely. I've never seen them. I'm really bad at TV and movies, although I've watched a lot more television recently just to distract my brain from like anxiety and worry and all that stuff. I don't know if it's a healthy distraction, but it's a distraction nonetheless. But I've never seen the Fast and the Furious like movies and franchises, although, you know, they did well even after, you know, when did Paul Walker die? Like
He died during the 7th one.
Oh, geez. Okay.
Filming the 7th one.
Yeah. I mean, they went deep with that franchise. So I mean, you had good quality time with the wife, man. That's what it's all about. I mean,
it's fun to have mindless entertainment sometimes. Like, it's okay. And it's one of those things where I have to take a break. I watch a lot of reseller YouTube videos, right? Like, that's a great way to learn. But at some point, it's almost like you get burned out on watching those. And so if I feel it coming, like, I guess I'll watch this one. If it's not fun and I'm not enjoying good content, then that's like my signal to, okay, let's get away. Let's watch something else, or let's go read a book. Let's go, you know, turn on the smoker. Let's do something different, because I don't want this to become, you know, I don't want to say I don't want it to become a job, because it is a job, like it's work, but I don't want it to become something that I don't like and that I sort of am, you know, like, oh, fine, I guess I got to do this. You know, I don't want it to turn into that.
Who are you watching when you're watching the YouTube resellers? Like who are you watching? What do you like to watch?
You know, I like Kevin over at Commonwealth Picker is a good friend. And so I watch pretty much all of his videos.
Okay.
You know, and he's a friend, so I would watch him anyway, but I think he's one of the best out there. I mean, the guy puts out, he was a full-time teacher and he was still putting out daily videos. And I mean,
don't know how you guys do it with jobs. I mean, and look, I'm not really working that much. I calculate my time down to the minute.
Yeah.
So I'm not really, you know, there's people that work in their full-time jobs 55, 60 hours. If I averaged a 30-hour week the last 5 or 6 weeks, that would be a miracle. I've worked a lot less, and I think my numbers are suffering because of that. But you doing but that doesn't mean in the other like 20 hours that I could be working, that I'm not working on stuff. I most certainly am. But just with him being a teacher, and I've seen I think I've seen Kevin talk about the income related to teaching. I'm going to talk to you about radio here in a minute, but how do you guys have the energy? I know that, and here's the problem, I guess, in my brain is, I understand everybody, or at least you do, and you have ambitions to eventually potentially go full time, but then that's when it transitions from maybe it being a hobby to this thing being real work with real stress related items that come with providing an income and all of those things. I understand you want to pay off your wife's student loan and all that, but how on earth are you finding the energy to do both, my guy? How?
It's tough. And that's why some days, that's why yesterday happened. Like,
yes.
We both need a break. Like, we both need to just do nothing for the day. Now, I still went in the morning, and I didn't even do nothing. Like, sometimes I will, but yesterday, I mean, I went garage sailing, you know, and I got a whole bunch of good stuff. And so what I did is, while we had the movies going, I wasn't taking pictures or anything. But I had the stuff in my lap, and I was making a draft minus the pictures. So I could do that while the movie was going. And it's easy to just sort of, you know, you go at your own pace, do whatever you want to do. And I must have made 20 or 30 drafts, just minus photos, while we were watching movies. And then I go back, and all I have to do is take the pictures. I already have the pricing, the shipping, all of that set. So then it's easy to go back later and go, okay, well, let's grab 3 of those things and take pictures.
Is your wife going, is she over here next to you going, put the damn phone down?
Sometimes it's like, hey, you know, I'm not great at balance, you know, the work-life balance. I'm very bad at doing that, because when I do something, I'm all in. And so, you know, an offer comes in while we're eating dinner. I hear that chime. I grab the phone because I want it. In my mind, it's good customer service, right? Like, she's going, well, they can wait till tomorrow, and they can't. But me, I'm going, well, good customer service. Plus, if I accept it, they see it right away. They might actually pay, right? So, you know, I'm not very good. She's the one that says, you know, you need to have business hours, and she's right. I struggle with it. You know, I'm trying to, right now, basically, I'm trying to find that hybrid between what she says I should do and what I feel like I should do.
Yeah,
maybe I can walk that line, and it's probably a little bit better.
I think in the manner you were talking about, that offer coming in right there, there's a difference between getting to it right away, so as not, you have to kind of capitalize on the potential of an impulse purchase, right? And so I think you were right to like get to the offer immediately. She's also right in that you don't, like, no response is a response, or you can get to it tomorrow. But I think in the instance where an offer comes in, you got to handle that one. You got to give priority to that, because you will inevitably, if you wait even 20 minutes, it's happened to me where I've countered and nothing happens or whatever. You really do have to kind of capitalize on it at that time. But there are instances like, and that's part of the beauty of running a sort of a faceless business, that if you call it running a business, where I had a lady, for example, today, this doesn't really have much to do with it being faceless to faceless, but she inquired about a Gem doll, like one of those vintage, you remember Gem and the whatever that was, that from the 80s or early 90s. There, I have a doll listed, and she had like 7 questions regarding condition, scratches, and I very politely responded, I don't think that, like, if you have those expectations of this doll, I would tell you respectfully, do not purchase this item, because what I think and what you think usually end up being 2 different things. So as politely as I could, and I blocked her. Right. Don't buy this damn doll from me.
Yeah, you're just asking for a return at that point.
Yeah, you have that ability to you can do that a little bit easier and more, I think, when you're running an online business, or not even respond to it, which is what your wife was saying. Like, you know, sometimes you don't even have to respond, because no response is a response.
Right.
That's the beauty of what we do. But talking about balance, I struggle with that too. And I have, you know, kids running around the house, and people want to tell me this thing right away, like when I'm in the middle of working, and you know, that's a problem I asked for, but it doesn't make life any easier. That is for sure. But yeah, that's what we got. That's why we do what we do. When do you think, because I'm always like, especially when it comes to having a corporate job, and I don't think maybe your job in radio you consider a corporate job. I don't know. You have to
I
talk
mean, I
about
see what
your,
you're saying. Yeah.
does it feel like a corporate job?
It doesn't now. I was in newspaper for a long time.
Hmm.
I was from, basically either a sports writer, an assistant, or a sports editor. I did newspaper sports for a very long time.
Hmm.
And for the most part, that did, because you were working locally, but then you had, ultimately my boss was in St. Louis, right? Like it didn't matter.
Yeah.
They told my boss what to do and he did it,
Who were you covering sports wise? Because you're in Montana, right?
Yeah, I mean, I did it in Texas and then Oregon and then
Okay.
Montana. So I bounced around.
Gotcha.
Mostly I did high school and college sports. Um, and it got very much to feel like that corporate, like that just, it wasn't fun to come to work anymore at some point. And that's when
Hmm.
I shifted back into radio. That was my first job in high school. And there was an opening and I thought, you know what, I got to get, the work environment. It was almost a toxic work environment. It was just, I did not like going to work every day. And
Yeah.
I didn't want to go to work waking up going, should I call in sick? Like, I don't like that.
Hmm.
So shifted back. And the nice thing is this is probably the best boss that I've ever worked for. I mean, it's a local company. It's a guy that his thing is, I mean, yeah, he's a business owner. He wants to make money, but there's a lot of times, like in Montana, we got wildfires and stuff going on right now. And so he'll go, hey, why don't we go do a live remote? We'll help do a fundraiser.
Hmm.
And we raised like thousands and thousands of dollars this last weekend, in conjunction with another guy that was a manager of a grocery store. Said, yeah,
Hmm.
come out, do it here. We'll donate the hot dogs. So he wants to matter in the community. And so that's the kind of attitude that I've got when I go to work. So it's a lot different here, but it still is, it's still a job, right? Like you still have to
Sure.
go in at a certain time. You have certain responsibilities. You have to get this done by this time. There's still a lot of that. So
Okay.
it's definitely different than selling online.
Well, but do you still have aspirations to eventually maybe weed out the radio and do the reselling full time?
Yeah,
Am I correct?
yeah. I don't think it's not happening in the next couple months. It would be within I can't imagine sooner than a year. Really, because when we started doing the reselling, it was, hey, I can sell a couple things a month and we can work on paying some of our debt down,
Yeah.
because like everybody else, we didn't have a whole lot of consumer debt. We had some,
Hmm.
but it's a lot of, student loans and medical bills. And, then the car breaks down or, whatever it is. And all of a
Yeah.
sudden it goes on a credit card. And so I thought, hey, we could do this. I had a friend that was doing it full time. I'm like, you can teach me. I can, and it's blown up into, I just hit 1,100 listings yesterday.
I saw
Uh,
your post. I have about the same amount. Yep.
yeah. I mean, it's taken a long time to get to that point,
Hmm.
but, I would like to go full time, but right now it's still working. It's very big. Like you said, it's very hard. It's busy doing essentially two full-time jobs. Is
Yeah.
what it's turned into, but what we're able to do with that right now is we take all of that eBay money, or much of it anyway, and it gets thrown at the loans. It gets thrown at, and it
Absolutely.
can
Gotta
do.
get that done.
My daughter turns 16 here in a few weeks.
Oh my gosh.
We get to do cool stuff that, 5 years ago, there's no way we would have been able to do. Now it's like, hey, bring 5 friends. We'll go do this. We'll go do that. eBay is going to fund a big portion of that. And it doesn't hurt our checkbook at the end of the month because that's all extra money. And so if I were to go full time, all of a sudden now we don't have the extra money, right? Like now that's
Yes.
the money we have. So
Right.
there's good and bad about it. It's
Hmm.
certainly hard, but I would like to move full time because I see what I can do doing this, part time right now.
Hmm.
I think if I was able to be going out there sourcing early and, sourcing multiple days and listing, for hours at a time rather than 45 minutes at a time.
Do you think, so you're okay? Let's put this into perspective. You're in Montana's a huge state, right? But
Yeah.
you're the 44th most populous state, right? There's only like 1 million people in the entire state.
Yeah.
From a sourcing perspective, I see you're doing the garage, you have good garage sale videos, which I really enjoy. I was actually just talking to myself, and you just bought model kit lot. I was like,
Yeah.
why didn't you make an offer on the license plates that were on the wall there?
I thought about that. I was looking at as he was talking about this does this, this does this. I was literally scanning down the license plate.
Right. I was thinking the same
Old
thing.
enough for me. So I was like, I'll let him go.
But what's the competition like sourcing in your area? I mean, with only 1 million people, and I mean, maybe everybody is spread out I think even like, Billings only has like what, 100,000 people. I mean, it sounds like it's spread. It sounds like it's spread out. But so if you left, right, if you just ditched the radio thing, let's assume all your debt's paid off and financially you're at a place where at least your debt's paid off.
Right.
Do you think that you could source consistently enough based on the amount of competition you have? I don't know what the competition is like. I always reference Columbus, Ohio, because that's where I'm from. I mean, there's 1.3 million people in Franklin County, right?
We don't have any of this. We have 1,080,000 is what the census puts us at.
1,080,000 in the entire. That's in the entire state.
Yeah.
So do you think you could walk into thrift stores consistently and find enough based on your location?
I think so. I've got a buddy in town. He shows up in my premieres and comments all the time under Farmer Mark. He's a guy that he was actually taught by the same guy I was taught by. He's retired and he uses this to supplement his retirement income. Yep. But so for all intents and purposes, he's full time whatever day he wants to be full time.
Sure.
And he'll send me pictures all the time of look what I got at Goodwill. I mean, he's found like 9 pair of Hokas this week, which is like ridiculous.
I can't find a pair of shoes to save my life right now. So I'm definitely envious.
He was like, hey, it's just the week. I'm just finding them. But, and what's cool is he does this all the time and he's still learning from my videos, which I sure appreciate. But he goes in and he makes great money off of this stuff. Mm-hmm. And so I think, and what I would do, I think, is if I went full time, that's when I would start cross listing. I tried it a little bit and it was too much for me. Like, because I have too much going on, I'd forget to delist it on platforms. And then I'd see I had like an offer or a like on a platform and go, oh, I sold that last week.
Right.
I just have to streamline. So I just do eBay, very randomly Mercari. I would probably start to cross list and I would probably start looking at Amazon. It's something that I've started to learn about without doing the last little bit. And there's certainly possibilities there for, retail arbitrage and stuff like that.
Sure are.
But I just don't have that. I don't want to try and cram that much more in right now.
Yeah.
Even though I know there's money there, I'm like, I can't add another thing to the plate. So I think I would have to expand a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But if I did that, I think it would work great.
I mean, if you got to 1,100 listings and you're working full-time hours in your job, in your radio job, I'm not trying to push you over the edge, right? Because you have a date and a time and a financial number in mind. But I'm always like, God, if I can help someone or whatever, like that's what I do for my audience. Like I really want someone to be able to say they left. Now, if you're working at like a deeply skilled, like if you're, I'm not trying to convince a doctor or something, but somebody that's in a corporate job where they feel like they're being mistreated or they're undervalued and the job isn't, it doesn't like hit you in your
joy there.
You feel it is like, I want all of you people to like jump on all of our backs and try this no matter where you're at, because to me, the end goal there, like, what really makes me angry is corporate America basically has you locked in to where you can't leave because of all of the things they offer. Like I don't think health insurance should be tied to your job. I think that's ludicrous, but I don't have a solution outside of it. I don't know what the alternative is. I'm not that deep into understanding the healthcare system in America to be able to like offer a realistic solution other than I know there are ways to survive and ways to like tackle that beast. But if your competition is light in your area and you have 1,100 listings, like with your current job, and you think you could go consistently into stores, I've got to say it gets cold up there, right? Your garage sale season doesn't last. Like you're not going to have that you got maybe a month left before that goes away, right?
I think it started early this year because I think with all, everybody is ready they've been doing spring cleaning and storing it in their garage, right?
Totally.
Sale season started early here and it got warm early here. I don't, the weather's going to turn. You're right, probably in 4 to 6 weeks, and there'll be stragglers and there'll be an estate sale, here and there. But there's definitely a window for garage sales, and that's what makes it hard here. It's not like Florida, where you can go to garage sale whenever you want,
all day long, right?
For 10 months of the year, there's garage sales.
Mm-hmm.
So that makes it harder. But right now, I actually told my wife the other day as we went out the door, my car was already full, and I said, well, there's like 3 or 4 more we could go hit. And she said, you don't have enough? I said, I do have enough, but there's going to be about 8 months where there's nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I'm trying this year is I'm still grabbing good stuff, but I'm trying to grab more than what I need. That way I can store that away, and it's a squirrel gathering nuts. I'm going to live off of. So the idea is to build, everybody calls it the death pile. I'm going to build that up. And then when there's no garage sales, I'm pulling all the stuff out of it that I didn't get listed that weekend. So it's still good stuff. And the great thing is I'm buying in bulk. So very often the stuff I'm pulling out is from a sale where I've already moved into the profit.
Mm-hmm.
It's all 100% profit that's coming. So I'm going to see it. Can I make it through the 8 months or whatever it is where there's no garage sales without really having to go into a thrift store?
Mm-hmm.
I can go in to supplement if I want, and if I just get bored and I'm like, hey, I'm going to go to a thrift store today, but I'm going to try and live off of garage sales by just buying a lot.
Okay.
It works.
Did you source, or were you reselling like at this level in 2019? We have to eliminate 2020 because it was a lockdown year. Like everybody killed it. So the numbers are kind of skewed. How did you do in 2019 in the winter? Were you doing it then?
Yeah. I did well. I was still shopping a lot in the thrift stores at that point, and we were still making money, but it's just your return on investment is so much higher at garage sales. You get so much back. You're spending $1 and selling it for even 20 or 25. That return on investment is huge. You're going to pay $5 for that same thing in the thrift store. So you're still making money, but the return on investment's not there. So, I'm still doing okay, I think, as compared to 2019. I'm doing better, and part of that is I think I'm getting smarter. I'm picking up the better stuff. I've found a couple of great, I've made the Star Wars purchase here recently. Mm-hmm. We made thousands off of that during the summer when it ordinarily would have slowed down. Mm-hmm. I'm getting better at finding those deals and finding the better stuff. And it's neat to kind of look at those numbers and say, hey, I'm getting better at this. Like I'm growing and I'm learning what to do, what not to do. And I think we always do that. If you stop learning, I think you're in trouble.
Is your wife interested in the what I see is, so I see a lot of, and I try to watch, like everybody has something really nice to offer. So I try to watch and support, even though I don't like comment on the vast majority of everyone's videos that I watch. I try to support them because I'm doing the same thing. Like we all have the same wants and needs, like why did I start the YouTube channel? Well, it's obviously to help other people, but like from a personal perspective, like my health insurance premiums per month are astronomical. So hopefully, the YouTube revenue kicks in eventually. So there's that, but I try to support everybody else's channel just because like I understand the grind and what everyone's like basic needs are. And I see like this person's going full time, but now it's a husband and wife team, or this husband, like everybody's bringing in family. And I've always been like against that idea because this thing has always just kind of been my thing. Now I could get, I could pull family members in. I could do all those things. I've chosen not to, just because I don't think that they're as interested in it as I am, even though I absolutely love when I can bring like even my daughters to garage sales. Like that just warms my heart. But does your wife have an interest in it, or a specific skill that you could add to the team, like moving forward, or even your 16-year-old daughter? Like, I don't, has she shown an interest in any of the things you do, or she has just
not really? Yeah, I mean, she just started work a few weeks ago. She works at a local coffee shop, and she loves it.
Is it her first her first W-2 job?
she had one other job she worked at, not quite a year. She was basically, bagging groceries, pushing carts, that sort of thing.
Yep.
And realized very quickly that in the summer and winter, that was a terrible job to be outside. Like, she did not like it.
That was one of my first jobs, bringing the carts in from the parking lot in the snow.
Yeah, she was not a fan. So she moved into this new job, and it's a locally owned company. But the boss is fantastic, really, really nice guy. I've talked to her about, hey, I could take some of your money. Even just the other day, she got her tip money for the first time, for the week. I said, hey, I'll take half of that and invest it in garage sales. And, we could work together. I'll seriously let you be an investor. And she was like, no. She's taken on with me to garage sales a couple of times, and she's got a pretty good eye. She's found some cool stuff. It just doesn't interest her. Like, every once in a while, it'll interest her. Like, if the mood strikes, it's like, hey, I'll go with you tomorrow. And that's fun. But that's like once a month, right? Like, it's just, and my wife enjoys it, and she enjoys the time together, like going to garage sales and stuff like that. But she doesn't love getting up at 6 a.m. on a Saturday.
Yeah, right? I hardly blame her.
She's not as invested in that. So what we've actually done the last couple of weeks is I'll go around until about 9 or 10 o'clock. And then I have a couple on the end that I'll say, hey, I'll come swing and pick you up. And then let's go to a couple more. And that's been fun. I get up, get early. I go to the big ones, and then we go to the last couple and see what we can find. And, we spend an hour and a half together or something. And then like this last weekend, we went and had brunch, and hung out. And so that was kind of cool to do together and do something that I enjoy. She enjoys more the time with me than to actually be at the garage sale.
Yeah.
Right. But she enjoys it. And then we got to go and hang out and have a meal together. And that was cool. I enjoyed that. I don't think she's going to, she's a teacher. She teaches middle school English, and that's her passion. Like, that's her thing. She's really, really good at it. I can't imagine she would say, and I'm not going to teach the kids anymore. I'm doing garage sales.
Right. I got a question.
I
got a question about that. So she's what did you say? She was middle school?
Middle school English. Yeah. 7th grade this year.
How long has she been doing middle school? 7th grade?
She here in town, she's been doing it for now at this school for about 5 years. And then, we're working on about a decade, all told, between different places.
That's really great. How are you guys managing the coronavirus and COVID and all of those things? It's got to be especially challenging for her.
Yeah.
In that environment, especially with the wave that we're on. How are you guys navigating the real challenge?
Yeah, we're doing okay. And we've talked about it on my channel. So it's, people that watch me, probably, if they've watched me for a while, we don't talk about it all the time, but we've mentioned it. She's got lupus, and so she's got an autoimmune issue already. So that it is kind of a scary thing, and she's got her immune system isn't great, and then you plunk her in the school.
Yes.
You know what? She's the one I'm the one that gets sick, right? Like, she's just so good at, all of the kids very quickly in her classroom have learned for the last 10 years. Like, oh, when you go to Mr. Shockley's classroom, you put the sanitizer on your hands, and they've been doing that for a long time. So they've already got that down. She handles her health really, really well. So as far as that goes, you're not worried about it, but I know she can take care of it as well. So it's interesting, having a wife in one school and a daughter in another school where there's just so many people.
Yes.
It can be scary, but we're doing what we need to do, and I think we'll be okay.
I saw I don't know. I was reading something on Reddit, and it was like there was a teacher that had just gone through chemotherapy, and she had in her class, half the students were masked and half were not. And I'm not going to get into a discussion about what I think is right and wrong, but this is just in my brain straight from like an empathy perspective. Half masked, half not. And she had asked, just would it, could you please, like, when you come in, this is what I'm dealing with. Could you all wear your masks? This wasn't forced. This wasn't, I don't know what the school's rules were or whatever. If it was voluntary, it must've been voluntary, but, and the next, and I'm almost certain and I don't know if this is this story is true or not. I read it. It's something I read on the internet. So
Right.
take it for what it's worth. And so half the students masked, half not. And they came back the next day and exactly half the students were masked and half the students were not. And I felt that made me feel really horrible because, you know, on one hand, I think probably 100% of the kids went home and told that story to her parents, and this is the results of it. And I'm not here to judge the kids. I'm not here to judge the parents. I guess I understand a lot, but you're dealing with lupus. I'm dealing with type 1 diabetes and cystic fibrosis in my household. I don't talk about it that much because it's not like the point of the channel or anything like that. So I get it. I understand really intimately what she's must be experiencing or dealing with.
On my channel too, at least one episode, you know, one video we talked about, because she had right at Christmas had a bit of a health scare. Like she'd been building up fluid in her chest. Really didn't realize that we didn't know it was happening. It's a very slow burn. And at that point it got to like, all of a sudden it's not just a slow burn, it explodes. And so we actually had basically right, I think it was 26th of December. It was right after Christmas. You know, woke up in the middle of the night, like I can't breathe. Like she couldn't catch her breath. It was like a full on 911 EMT, you know, and it was scary. And so she actually went and we got all that taken care of, you know, because as part of her illness, she's got some congestive heart failure. And so we got all that taken care of, but then all of this really ramped up. And so she actually taught for the bulk after that, almost the rest of the year, just online at home. And she did live lessons, you know, on the computer.
She was able to stay home and do that.
Yeah, she did it at home, and they had everything set up for her. It wasn't like a recorded lesson. Like she was actually looking at the kids in the classroom. They hired somebody to basically sit in the classroom and watch and help. But she was teaching the classroom from the bedroom.
That is an unbelievable amount of support from her district.
Yeah, it was incredible. And I actually, you know, as part of my radio show, I talk with the superintendent like once a month. And he actually left and a new superintendent has come in. But the last show that he was on, where it was the two of them together, I thought it was pretty neat that it was like just a complete side mention by him. But he goes, "Oh yeah, Troy's wife's a teacher out at the middle school. She's a superstar. You know, you need to." I'm like, okay. So I had to come home and tell her, like, "Oh, by the way, your boss said you're a superstar."
Yeah, gosh.
You know, because it was incredible what she did, you know, of teaching, not recording a lesson and uploading it. You know, I mean, she's interacting with the kids through Microsoft Teams, and she ultimately got where she could get back into the school, you know, the last couple months, which was her goal. And that's why I say I can't imagine that she would cash that in and go, "Hey, let's do the reselling thing."
Well, that was my
that's
what I was alluding to. Yes, I mean, I've seen so many stories now of teachers who don't get anywhere near that kind of support. And I'm not talking about like a teacher with an autoimmune issue or anything like that. Just even in just general, like not getting the support they think they need, then why on earth would you have any, you know, incentive to stay outside of a passion for teaching children? But you believe me, my channel's Dad Planet. Like I am insanely passionate about children and youth and providing the best life experiences for them and lessons and all of those things, and actually being present in their lives. Like that's what I want. Like I want like a swath of dads to just like dump your soul sucking corporate job and let's go do this thing together and learn. And you can't take the money with you when you die. All that jazz. If
I was still at the newspaper in this situation, I'd have already been full time. Like I was working 60 or 70 hours a week. I was never home. The last 6 to 8 months that I was there, like I didn't notice it as much as my family noticed, like how just miserable I was. Like I knew I wasn't happy, but they could see like I was really unhappy. So if I didn't have a job that I really liked, I'd have jumped already, you know?
Yeah.
There is more freedom in this, you know.
You have to tell me if you, what's Harry? This is going to sound ridiculous, but Harry Tornado, what's his name?
Josh.
Yeah. I think his wife just left her job. Did she
Yeah,
not? So
yeah,
she left her job. There's another couple. It's Hustle and Hooks. I think
yep,
one or the two of them just left. Both left there. One of them left a really good, according to their information, a good corporate job to resell full
yeah.
time. Like
And I was
I
talking
absolutely,
actually with Josh. I talk with him not regularly, but semi-regularly.
yeah,
And he actually mentioned them when I was somehow this conversation came up of going full time and that sort of
yeah,
thing. And he said something that he thought was really valuable from Hustle and Hooks. Talking with them of what they did is I don't remember the time frame. I think they spent maybe it was 4 months, and basically it was let's run an experiment. Let's see if we can live off of the reselling income for
hmm
4 months. Don't touch what your actual job income. Let's pretend that we don't have that.
yeah.
And if you can make it through those 4 months and be happy, then you can actually feel good about making that decision. And it's not, jumping off a high dive blindfolded. Like like this is how it's going to work. I think that's brilliant advice.
It's yeah. I mean, I feel like at a minimum you should do that. Even 4 months. If you can capitalize on. Well, they even said let's just see if we can live off of all of the things we resell. Let's
Right.
see if we can. And but you have to also consider cash flowing the business, the amount of time you're spending, how you're going to allocate time with your kids, because that would be a new unless I think from Hustle and Hooks perspective, they have some health care for the kids, like maybe one of the moms or something like that
Yeah.
with grandparents. That's hard too. You're in a nice situation where your oldest daughter can be, if that's your only daughter, can be
Yeah.
self-sufficient. So you don't
Yeah.
have to necessarily think about that. But all of the, and then you look at the re-commerce industry, where it's headed. Like it's growing at an insanely fast pace, and I don't know if that's exacerbated by the coronavirus, because eventually this thing is, and all of its variants, is going to run through everybody. In fact, the Spanish flu that we have or the flu that we have today is a variant of the Spanish
Right.
flu. Like they stick around forever. They don't kill as many people. It sort of weakens after it's gone through all of its hosts. So that will sort of dissipate, but there's this re-commerce movement, like keeping these products like out of landfills and getting things into people's hands that would otherwise cost a fortune new, and then seeing the success of some of these other channels, at least on the surface, should be enough motivation for your viewers, right? For
Yeah.
my viewers, and seeing, and I like to, I don't, I'm like super egoless. Like I don't toot my own horn, but like if my viewers knew like how expensive my life is in the background, and me being able to do it, have all of this. And when I say all of this, is I'm not like living in a mansion. Like I'm not making millions of dollars. Like, come on. I show my numbers. Like, yeah, I don't hide anything. You guys know what I'm doing on eBay every week and every month. That should really be motivation for other people that you can handle it too, as long as your location is fruitful.
Yeah.
However you source, like if you're good at doing auctions on Auction Zip or whatever, that's wonderful. Finding wholesale suppliers, or if you're like me and you just walk in and out of like your local thrift stores and you're able to make it work that way, and you like learn a particular skill and grow, why would you not at least take the leap like they did? As long as they left their jobs on good terms, you could always go back if you feel like it didn't work, or money was tight, or some type of an emergency happened. Why would you not give it a shot? You know what I mean? You look at just in Ohio, how many reseller channels there are. I mean, there's Cincinnati, 45 minutes for me. We got Dayton, Toledo, there's a ton of like popular channels here in Ohio. So we must be doing something right here, but why would you not give it a try?
Yeah. Well, and I think the scary thing though too is the uncertainty, right? Like you, because I had like this weekend, I think I've had a couple sales today, but I think I'm at maybe 10 or 11 sales,
Oh
and
yeah, it's been
like
slow for me too. Yeah.
7.99 free shipping on a couple of them. Like
Oh yeah,
little
right.
stuff. So it's not even that it's not very many sales. It's some of them are pretty small, And the same thing was last weekend. But then on Thursday, like a random Thursday, we had like $600 move on Thursday.
But I always look at it like this. If you just, then this is a not, whether you want to admit it or not, this is a numbers business. Like every now and then I'll get a question like, I don't care about I just sold a mouse, like, a computer mouse for $250. Like, I couldn't care any less about that widget. I don't care. I only pay attention to the numbers. Like, what do my numbers on a weekly bit? Like the stuff in the basement is just stuff. I don't romanticize about any of it. I don't care about any of it. But I do look at the numbers. The numbers have to make sense consistently. But if you have 1,100 listings and you're working radio, if you let's not say leave it and then get to 2,200. If you doubled your listings, hypothetically, based on the amount of numbers you're doing, you would be doubling your revenue. If you got to 1,100, there's nothing keeping at least the two of you from getting to 2,200. I tell myself that all the time. Like, because of the way I price the items I buy and the way I price, because I price so high and I charge shipping. I am an inventory building business. I'm not daily refinement where I get mall brand stuff and I sell it for $15 and I'm just machine, and he is a machine. Like, that is amazing. But I'm very much different than that. So the way I price, like, I'm an inventory building eBay seller. So if I don't have 2,200, I really shouldn't be complaining about like having low sales, because I could just get to 2,200, just go and get, I just buy more, spend more. My number one problem in my business is I don't spend enough. I get really picky and I adhere to a very strict time frame when I'm sourcing. So I only give myself 30 minutes in a store unless it is just raining diamonds, right? There's always the exception, right? If the carts are flying out and it's like all, $1 million stuff, I'm going to spend as much time as I can. But I only give myself 30 minutes 99.9% of the time. Then I'm on to the next store, and I'm done. I really adhere to a very strict time frame. But double your listings and double your sales, right? I mean, isn't that how it works?
Yeah, more hooks in the water, Yeah, and I'm working on. I work out of my garage, and so right now we're actually working on
space is an issue, huh?
Refining, yeah, and that's a lot of times people say, "Why didn't you pick that up? Why didn't you pick that up?" Well, it's big, I mean, right. I got no problem shipping out a big thing. I've done it before. If it's the right thing, I'll do it. But very often, and that's one of the perks of being part-time, right? Is you can leave profit sitting there. You know that it's profit. If I was full time, I'd almost feel obligated. Like, I have to pick that up because I know I can sell it for $100. But this weekend we passed by something that was, $100, $120 because it was huge. And I'm like, I don't want to deal with it. And I'm okay leaving it for somebody else because I can make $100 over here on buying 5 DVDs and leave that big, heavy machine sitting over there. I've got that luxury. But I also have the space issue where it's like, I've got a limited amount of space. I have to make smart decisions based on that space. So we're working on kind of refining that system a little bit and moving inventory around. So I think I'm going to be able to start buying a few bigger things. And I've actually got a friend here in town that has some aspirations he owns a thrift store, and he's also got some aspirations to sort of expand that to basically build like a small antique mall. And not necessarily antiques, but that same idea. And so I could get a booth there super easy. Then some of that inventory sitting there rather than in my garage, and I can get some of the bigger stuff. And so if that happens in the next 6-8 months or whatever for him, that would be another avenue. And that would be another thing where I could, it's another check in the go full-time column, right? Because it's another income source.
Do you watch Osborne to Thrift?
Yeah.
That man's numbers is absolutely
crazy,
insane what he is doing. Those unbelievable numbers. But I think he does a storage unit too, right? And I don't know. I think he's only carrying about the same amount of listings we have. He just is turning over unbelievable inventory fast. But he has a store. maybe it's a garage. I forget. I'm bad about their details, but are you close to a like a storage facility that you could utilize? I was in a storage unit, a huge one, but it was just for my private label. Like I have a private label like party supply business. So, and I had like tens of thousands of units that had to be stored somewhere. So I have a storage unit, but I don't keep eBay inventory. I'm
Right.
able to keep all 1,100 items that I have in my basement and in my garage. So the storage unit is just for my private label, but could you do
Yeah,
that?
actually, that's the one. That's what I'm looking at right now, and I think we're gonna go that way because there's actually a. Um, I take my mail every day. I'm not one of those guys that can set my mail on the porch and just go, all right, well, the mailman will pick it up. Like
Yeah.
my anxiety would be through the roof. Like I just
Yeah.
can't do it. And as a bonus, my post office, it's only 3 miles away and it's open till 6 o'clock. So I can get home from work and pack, and I don't have to do it late at night. I can pack after I get off of work, and I can pack some day of orders. And so I drop it off at the post office. Well, literally across the street is a storage facility. There's a U-Haul storage facility. So the thinking is get a unit there, and I don't want to put my listed inventory there because I don't want to have to go to the unit to get inventory every day. Or if somebody has a question about something that I'm okay with answering, measurements, or does it have this widget on the end or what?
Yep.
I want to be able to answer them and have access to my stuff. But what I think I'm going to do is start putting the unlisted stuff there. And when I go drop off the mail, I go across the street and bring my now empty IKEA bag, and let's grab 6 or 8 things. Those are the things I'm listing today. And I'll bring those back with me to the house. It's not an extra trip. It takes me an extra 10 minutes max, maybe 5. And then it keeps, one of the issues that I have is eBay creep. I don't know if you have that, but I tend to have eBay creeping that's what I call it. I tend to have eBay creeping into various rooms of the house. There'll be something sitting on the 2 or 3 things on the counter that, I'm going to clean that, or I'm going to list that later. Or, in the bedroom, the big thing that I didn't have room for in the garage, and pretty soon there's something from eBay in every room in the house. And I want to be able to keep that separate. I want house and eBay, I don't want to clutter up the house with.
Yeah, they have a show for that. It's called Hoarders. You better start.
I know. I know. And I don't want, and my garage looks like that right now. And I want to fix that. And I don't want it in the house. And so I think that storage unit, I think it's going to be a good investment, both for keeping business and home separate, so that's not getting in, and just, I clear out the space that I've got unlisted inventory here. I can better have my listed inventory organized and skewed and sorted. And I think there's a lot of wins to doing that.
That's the one thing about the storage unit is if someone has a question regarding measurements, or like having to go there to you want to answer, like you want to provide the best customer service you can if that's a question that you want to answer, but then you've got to go here to go get that. Like that would be super annoying. But again, that some of the things you have to deal with when you're running a business, I guess. But
I just don't want to have. I want to have access to the stuff I have listed. And
definitely.
If somebody lists something and I'm not going, or if somebody buys something and I'm not going to the post office for an hour, and it's a DVD or a PS4 game, why not spend 30 seconds and pack the thing? I couldn't do that if it was at the storage place.
That's true. And I'm so lazy. Tell me if you've had you've gotten that question. Like it's hard enough for me to go down 2 flights of stairs to go do the thing they ask, and it's in my own house. I'm not going to
make a 20-minute round trip, and
Criminy. Do you have a Goodwill? What are the Goodwill prices like in your area? I know a lot of people have complained about Goodwill and like their constant pulling all of the good stuff, putting that on Shop Goodwill, and the prices have gotten out of control. And what's it like in Montana?
It goes up and down. We've only got one here.
Okay.
It depends. They run through staff there really quickly because it's not a very, it's the corporate job. It's not, they're rotating people. You just start to get to know the people, and then they've had enough and they quit.
Yeah.
So it goes through cycles. The longer that management is there, you can see the prices start to creep up, and then management leaves and they'll bring in somebody new and they're back down lower again, and then they creep back up. There's still stuff to be found. For me, it's tougher because I'm not getting there very often until the afternoon. So, the full-time guys, they've already been through there twice,
and
stuff out. But it's not bad. You can still find good stuff in there. And we've got a couple other local thrift stores. one of them's got really good stuff, but they price up. And I actually spoke with the manager. She didn't, I guess she didn't remember me, because I once had a bit of a conversation with her at her thrift store too. They had a whole bunch of these old soccer shoes that I'd seen there for months and months and months. Nobody's touching. So I try to basically offer a deal. I'll take them all off your hands. And she's not a big fan of resellers. She doesn't really couch.
She's a reseller,
right?
She's not a fan of resellers,
right? And you know, she just wouldn't do it. And so I had her on my radio show. I mean, and this was like last year or something, so she's probably forgotten. But I asked her, just for my own benefit. I snuck in there like, now pricing, how does that work for you? How do you guys do that? And she said for a lot of stuff, they will look it up on eBay and see what it's selling for and price it about 20% less. So I don't know, I don't know if that's a standard number, but I mean, it came straight from the manager that yes, we are, I know we all have our theory, right? Like she actually said, yeah, we look it up and give people a 20% deal.
I wonder where they're getting their stuff. Right? If they have to compete with Goodwill, I wonder how they're getting their donations.
Well, they both. The thing that helps them is they have some charity. They have a charity arm, so it's a local charity arm. So some people will donate theirs. They know that money is going to come back into the community, and they do a lot of great stuff. And they have good things in there. It's just sometimes the prices. They ask $15 on a pair of jeans, which every once in a while you'll find a great pair there and that's worth it. But just to buy a pair of 560s for $15, there's not a lot of profit there, so
not on 560s. Geez,
right.
No. Yeah.
I mean, and they do that blanket on anything, I mean, so it's hard to find profit in there sometimes, but you can find it, you find the stuff just like anything else. I went in there and pulled a whole bunch of media last month that they blanket price everything like $1.99 on media. A bunch of new and sealed DVDs that sell for like 20, 25, $30, so
I saw you just sold some VHS. You sold the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Someone in my group, in my Facebook group, just sold that sealed version for like $120. It was 100 Canadian. So I don't know what that comes out to. Yeah. She was like, I'm so thankful for you and your information or whatever. That thing just sold for, so VHS media, right? Sealed media right now is amazing.
Oh, like, it's going like crazy.
Amazing stuff.
Called, was it the new? It was a sealed Willow that they sold for like $150, $200, something.
Who sold it?
I don't remember. I saw it in a Facebook group.
I swear I saw that too. Yeah, I wonder where that came from. Maybe that was in the same group.
I'm always looking at media. I'm always picking up different stuff. I mean, there's some that you would have no idea. The Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure is like a $200 VHS if you can find it new.
That's amazing. I sold Candyman not too long ago way underpriced it. I should have sold for $100. I sold it for $60. I don't know why I took that offer, but and I found it. I bought a bunch of VHS like years ago. I'm talking like 400 of them, and a box. I sold them all off, but there was a box that I forgot to get to, and that sealed Candyman was in there. So that was a really nice surprise. But yeah, that would have sold for actually even more than 100 leading up now into the like fall and October season. Yeah. But what do you think about? I hear this often too. Are YouTubers, like those of us that resell and give away our secrets, even though there are no secrets because there's a sold comparable app on eBay, there are no secrets.
It literally tell you on the platform.
It literally tells you everything you need to know. Are we ruining the reselling process by doing what we do? And Goodwill now, how do you think they learn what there is to sell or pull? How do you feel about people that think we are screwing them in their endeavor?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a kernel of truth in there. Like there has to be, right? Like a little bit, but it's the same idea of, every once in a while it hits my brain. Like, can I literally go out every weekend and keep finding all this stuff at garage sales? Like there has to be an end to the supply. Like I can't keep going out and finding $100 items. It doesn't make sense, but you do. Like every weekend there's something else somewhere that's worth a lot of money. Where I'm going the wrong way. You can't even see it on my screen. I went out in the model buy. I mean, This sold for $150.
I saw that sale. That was amazing. That's just from the last video, right? Isn't that from that last video? Is that from that guy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You find that stuff all the time. And so, are we ruining the thing? I don't think so. I mean, certainly we're giving away some secrets, but to how many people, and to how many of those people are going to actually take action on that? You might have, I might have 3,000 people watch a video where I go, hey, this is a bolo that, I'll give it right here. I mean, people might not know about it. I think some people do. I think tomorrow's video is going to be about tarot cards. Tarot cards sell really, really well. I went to a garage sale. This lady had like 8 or 10 of them sitting on the table. And I'm just grabbing them all up, because randomly I'll just find one somewhere. This lady had a bunch. I think some people know about that, but not a lot.
Yeah.
So, okay. So I'm going to ruin the secret of tarot cards. Well, is the guy in Philadelphia grabbing the pack of tarot cards going to screw up the guy over in Ohio? No. Right. Like, and how many, I'll get 3,000 people watch that video and 5 people are going to take action on it. Right. Like, because it's that taking that next step. Everybody might watch it and go, oh, I didn't know about that. But then how many of them are actually going to go out there and do anything about it?
I tell people that all the time. Watching bolo videos all day isn't going to make any one of you rich. You really have to learn how to manage your time.
Yeah.
Maximize your efficiency behind the scenes. Like that's how I'm able to do what I do. But good.
Unless there's a race to the bottom on the price.
Yeah.
If he's selling his for $75 just like I am, we're not hurting each other, right?
No, and
the market shifts, but the market is what the market is. And so, you're not really hurting anybody. It's just now that packet of tarot cards got picked up at a garage sale versus going to Goodwill or maybe the dump.
Yeah, right. I mean, there's too many products, too many trend changes. There's too many items that become nostalgic after a while for it to ever change. And you have to remember, Goodwill started selling on eBay in 1999, right? This is not new to them. YouTube didn't even exist until after 2000. I think it started in 2005, somewhere 2004, 5, 6, somewhere around there. That's when YouTube started. So Goodwill has been way ahead of YouTube resellers. That said, there's another thing too. There are a couple of stores in my local area here where through the grapevine, and when I say through the grapevine, I mean actual managers, whether it was an assistant or the actual general manager of the Goodwill is like, yeah, we have a policy where we don't put any Lego on the floor. It all goes to Shop Goodwill. Well, guess what happens? Every now and then I go into that store and there's Lego on the shelves. And the reason for that is Goodwill can set any policy they want from the top down. The turnover that they experience and the volunteers that they have working for them and the pricers that they have, that pricer, what do they want to do? They want to get their 3 hours in or their 4 hours in and get the hell out of there. They don't care about every single policy that you have. So guess what happens? A Lego comes through, they're tired, they're bored, they stick the $3.99 tag on it and it makes it on the shelf. 100% of the time, no one's getting fired for that. No one's getting reprimanded. The managers don't want to who's going to reprimand a volunteer? No, this is never going to happen. So while that may have slipped through the cracks, no matter what policy Goodwill has in their stores regarding what they are to never put on the floor and what can make the floor, good stuff is always going to make the floor, because you can't possibly make a laundry list of 50 million brands that are, good, hot reselling brands that are only supposed to go to Shop Goodwill just based on the numbers alone. That's never, ever, ever going to happen. That's why I continue to go in there, even when some of mine, their prices are absolutely ridiculous. That's when it takes somebody like us, if you want to be a professional, to be able to not just be there when the Lego lands on the floor, but that generic thing that they're never, ever going to catch in a million years. Oh, that thing's worth $150. Well, yeah, it looks like a plastic toilet. So it's never going to get caught. It's never going to get flagged and put on Shop Goodwill. Those products always sift through the cracks, always. And that's why we're always going to be.
That's why videos are so big. YouTube videos are so important. I think if you want to grow your business, I don't know how many things I've seen where it's I had no idea. And then it just goes and lives in the back of your brain somewhere.
Yes.
And then you randomly see it at a garage sale and go, I don't know where I saw this, but I'm pretty sure this is worth some money.
Yep.
You know,
exactly.
and not all of it's going to stick there, but this summer I've had several where I'm like, I know I've seen this somewhere. I know this is Baby Beluga on vinyl. I would have never picked that up. I know on vinyl, I don't know much about it. I know look for old rock, look for, I saw that and I flipped that past and then I went back and went, I think I'm supposed to get this.
Yep.
A $50 album or something like that. And it sold super quick.
It's amazing.
I've seen that on some video somewhere and it's burrowed away in the back of my brain. And then I saw it and went, yeah, I have to grab this. That's why you got to always be learning. That's why videos like this are so important. The what solds and the thrifting videos and stuff like that, because that's how you learn. That's how you grow. Yeah. And that's how you find the stuff that the Goodwill people don't know about it. There's only so many niches that nobody knows about, right? Like I'm sure there's a guy out there somewhere that a YouTube video blew up the only thing that he sold. I'm sure you can find one guy, right? But
yeah. The trends always change.
Yeah.
So what's in favor now won't be in favor. You know what I mean? Like, Untuck It. I don't know if the Unbrand. I don't do a lot of clothing, but Untuck It shirts for a while, like that brand was doing well. I don't know if the market's caught up with that or whatever. I don't know where that is, but like there's going to be a time where those shirts won't be worth $5, right? But no one at Goodwill, and you have to. I'm not sure where I'm catching that market right now. Those shirts could still be selling for $50, $60, or they could be $5 right now. I don't know because I don't do a ton of it. But there was a time where that was a guaranteed $38 for like a basic button-down shirt, right? 100% of 100% of the thrift stores are never marking that shirt up. It looks so basic and boring, right? It's just never going to happen. And where there's an Untuck It, there's this brand and there's that brand, and there's so many of them. It's almost impossible for you not to succeed. I mean, basically, and when I have people that a very few amount of people right now that have paid me to help them in their business, and how I start like the first session with them is these 5 items right here. If you were to list them online for $1, do you think there would be somebody, somebody that would spend $1 for that item? The answer is always yes, right? Okay. Right. Could you sell it for $2? Sure. Could you sell it for $3? And then so really like almost everything sells for a certain amount. You know what I mean? That's why like the YouTube stuff, this is never going to get old. It's never going to it didn't put you out of business. You put you out of business because of the way you thought about how this had a negative effect on.
And you didn't change. Like if it did impact something, you didn't pivot and try something different.
Well, that's true too. Yeah, you have to be like, that's me with women's clothing. Like I almost never look at it, and I probably should because I know I'm passing up money, but that's my own fault, right? It's not, well, women's clothing is saturated and too much stuff on YouTube, so I don't look at that category anymore. No, it's really that's my fault. I haven't taken the time to get better at learning some of those brands or that category in general. So yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm sure our sentiments are the same when it comes to, are we helping or are we hurting? Because no one's paying attention. You think a Goodwill executive is like paying attention to YouTube videos? Like they got money to spend. They got second houses to buy. They have stock investments to worry about. They're not watching Dad Planet on YouTube learn how to sell a dog crate,
I had a guy that was commenting to me, and I actually made a video about it, that I was basically killing different markets because I don't have a niche. Also, it's kind of related to that. He was like, you go ahead and be the Walmart and put the mom and pop shops out of business. And he was comparing it to, because apparently he sells, one thing. This is his lane. And he's saying by me going in and picking up the stuff that's in his lane, that puts him out of business. And I'm like, well, I guess I can see your point, but it's that same thing. Like maybe sell a few other things and maybe don't, I'm not an expert in it. So I'm not finding, I'm picking up, if it's vinyl, I'm picking up the rock, all the other stuff that's worth money. I thought that was an interesting conversation, that because I don't have a niche of stuff, I sell a little bit of everything. and he was saying I was killing various online stores that had a niche. I thought that I've never heard that before. That was an interesting take on it. I think he's wrong, but it was interesting.
I don't know what to make of that. That's so weird that somebody would come after you for your one-off item in their niche. That to me,
Right.
that boggles my mind, because the likelihood of you entering back into that niche, like that, it doesn't, the math is not working out in my brain and I think for good reason, because I'm reasonable. But
Right. Yeah. 'Cause he even went farther, and I said, okay, so if you see a vintage Scream mask that you know about, but it's not your niche, and you see it sitting on a table, he goes, oh yeah, I know, I leave it. That's not my thing. That's a terrible business model, man.
Well, especially if you're selling on, when you're selling on a platform like let's use the Auction Professor as an example. I can't find anyone that knows more about like military paraphernalia and you could say postcards, but let's just focus on military, because he's I think he's an Army brat. I forget what his background is, but that man knows that niche well. He also has pickers, right, that source for him. Like he has a niche. I don't want to say it's cornered, but there are, for every one of the Auction Professor, there's like 500 other people that can succeed, because eBay is not a vinyl records only store. It's an everything store like Amazon is. So especially if you're new, you're starting, you're trying to learn, I always tell people, niching down is like the worst advice. It's the worst advice you could give anybody, especially if you're new. If you don't absolutely specialize and or are not an expert in a category like that man is, who is phenomenally like talented with
and you have access to it.
Like
that's all you do.
But you've created that access.
Video games, you wasted your time.
Right. But
somebody else beat you to them.
But eBay is too big it's so big. And I know there's like the 80-20 rule in a lot of this, right? Like 20% of the sellers do 80% of the business. I don't know necessarily that eBay now, I think they are actually 80% of everything that is sold on eBay is new. So they really went after Amazon in that regard, and like courted the Chinese sellers and did all those things. So their used market is small, but it's still huge, right? Like if you're comparing it, you can't compare it to, I don't think you can compare it to Amazon. Like I don't think about Amazon when I'm thinking about a rare collectible. And I understand that they have a used market too, or even Etsy. Like eBay is like a top 10 trafficked website. Etsy's in the 30s. That gap is astronomical. I understand you can sell vintage on Etsy, but from a pre-owned and a collectibles standpoint, eBay destroys everybody, with maybe the exception of Amazon in some things, but
people don't go to Amazon for used items. Those are
Right.
available, but that's not what, that's not what they go there for.
You'll sell used items, you'll make money, and that's great. That's wonderful. But eBay is a top 10 trafficked website for a reason. It allows you to sell everything. So spreading yourself out makes so much more sense. Learn, and that's what I try to do with my inventory. I try to diversify it. I know where I'm deficient. I don't have enough shoes right now. I don't have enough vintage items. Vintage represents only like 15% of all of the items I have sold. That's a problem for me. I want it to be more like 20, 25%. So I watch those things, because I don't want to suffer from, and it's still happening to me. And it's just because I don't have as many listings as I think I need to have, but I still go through those like slow periods. But listen, I've said this before. If all you're selling is PlayStation 5s right now, like there's no such thing as a slowdown. You will be destroying everybody in sales. So be a little bit of everywhere in the beginning, so you can avoid like slow periods or this, that, and the other. There's room for everybody. So I feel bad for your guy who felt like you were infringing on his niche, because it doesn't work like that.
I tried so hard to understand him. Like I kept asking people, like, why are you giving this guy the time of day? Because I want to understand. Like I'm genuinely confused and want to try to figure out like how is this coming out? I could never get there, but I tried.
I got but we know we've been on. I don't want to keep you on for much longer. I had this idea. I'm going to throw it out to you because I'm always like I'm doing giveaways all the time. I have a huge giveaway coming up. When I hit 3,000 subscribers, I have like a box of $1,000 worth of amazing inventory that I'm going to give away. But I thought like maybe we could do something fun. I could do something fun for your audience, my audience, vice versa. If we can pull it off where like maybe on one of our garage sale hauls, I will take one of the items that I source and you tell me if this is a stupid idea when we can do something else or not do anything at all right now. And I'll send it to one of your viewers. Like if you, oh, hey, I just gained a new subscriber. Mountain Man Treasure sent me in one of the videos. I could give one of the items that I find at a garage sale to your audience and vice versa. Does that sound like something that would be interesting to you?
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, I think we could have fun doing that. I want to just always like trying to think of ways to help wherever I can. So I thought that would be a fun idea. So yeah, maybe we'll talk about that offline, but is there anything else you want to hash out before we close up shop?
No, you know what? I've actually got, I was doing some organizing and stuff out here and I came upon something. You want to give away something right now?
We could give away something right now. Absolutely. I don't know what if I have anything at arm's length, but yes, yeah, we can do that. We can definitely do that.
And I thought, you know what? Let's do this. Okay, so the story behind this thing, and we can do it however you want to do it. Okay. People comment down below, and you randomly pick a comment. Whatever. And I guess people can sell this or keep it. But the story on this thing, I sent this to. I do a lot of international sales, and this went to a guy in Spain. And and this is like 2 years ago now, Brendan. Like this somehow found its way, like it came back to me ultimately, and then got set on a shelf, and it got forgot about. He had a beef with his local customs people. He didn't want to pay the import fees, so they're trying to charge me too much. They're end of the story. It comes back to me eventually, and so this has just been sitting around. This is part of the first big bulk buy I did. I bought out this guy's storage unit of mostly Marvel themed Funko Pops. And so I've got this thing. It's still, this is a mystery item because look, it's still, when I got it back, it's still in the bubble wrap that I sent it in. So this made it safely back from Spain. I bubble wrapped this thing well. So I can tell you that it's, it looks, I think I remember what it is, but it's a Hot Topic. So it's one of the, the better ones, I guess. This is Marvel, and I don't even think I want to tell you anything past that. I know who it is.
Keep it a surprise.
It's one of the larger ones. I mean, you can see it's one of the bigger ones. So you could resell in terms of value. It's probably $25. Plus shipping. It's a slower moving one, but it would sell. I sold it. But it's just sitting there, and I didn't want to unwrap it and relist it and all that. So I'll give it to one of your subscribers. You do it however you want, but just give me a name and address, however you want to run that below. We've got a giant size Funko Pop for somebody.
I love that idea. That's amazing. Keep it a mystery. That's such a fun item. So I will dig out an item that I can give away also. Maybe I'll find it at a garage sale, or maybe it's something that I have here that's either listed or not listed. I'll find something cool. I'll do the same for you. So we'll swap gifts for our audiences. I love that idea. But that thing, that's real interesting. I'll be interested to see what it is.
Yeah, it's heavy duty. It's Marvel themed. So if you like Marvel, you like Funko Pops, I got a Funko Pop here for you.
Good stuff. That's amazing. Well, thanks so much for shooting the what with me. I appreciate it. Appreciate getting to know you better in your area and all that stuff. And I'll be looking forward to seeing more of your videos. I like you're so kind to everybody at the garage sales. I even think with the one she wanted 60 and then decided on 40, but you gave her 45 just to be nice. I was like, man, this is a really nice, this is a kind human being. That's for sure.
Well, it's easy to be nice to people, right?
Yeah, sure.
You might, it's good to be nice to people. You make people's day. Why not? If you buy a little kid, I always go and buy like the lemonade or the cookie. Well, not always. 90% of the time, generally I won't even eat the thing, because I don't know where that thing's been. Well, depending on the kid, I'll buy it, or I'll say, you know what, here's $1. You keep it, and you can sell that to somebody else.
Yeah, right on.
It's almost okay, right? Like it's easy.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Well, I appreciate it. I'll hit end broadcast. Just hang tight for a little bit, and then we'll go from there. But thank you so much for doing verses with me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. Okay. See you in a bit.